So we've got breaking news on the trade war. China is effectively calling Donald Trump and his team a bunch of liars. That's sort of today's show. And check out the headlines. You'll see what I'm saying. China says no ongoing trade talks with the U.S., calls for canceling the unilateral tariff. So again, China says we're not talking to the U.S. You see right there, China says no ongoing trade talks with the U.S. That is very different language than what Trump's been saying. Have a listen to this.
Hi, Mr. President, on China.
Yeah, we are going to have a fair deal with China. It's going to be fair.
Are you talking to them actively now?
Actively. Everything's active. Everybody wants to be a part of what we're doing. They know that they can't get away with it any longer, but they're still going to do fine. And we're going to have a country that you can be proud of, not a laughing stock all over the world for.
Whenever Trump does this stuff, it's just like, it feels like a confession, right? Oh, we're not going to be a laughing stock anymore. And it's like, do you hear yourself? You know, are you having active talks with China? Oh yeah, active. Everyone's active. and it's funny when I saw this, it reminds me of the scene in the first Star Wars. If you guys know, Luke Skywalker and Han Solo go to rescue the princess, and they get to like the guard room area. Han Solo takes out the guards, and then he has to talk to the intercom, and they're just like, hey, what's going on down there? We heard some firing. Is everything okay? And Han Solo's like, oh yeah, we're all fine. Everything's all fine. We're all great. How are you? and the guy's like, who's your operating number? Right? And Han Solo then, shoots the council as a bad conversation anyway, right? And essentially that's what this is, right? It's like Donald Trump's trying to, steal something and basically trying to hold a conversation when it's all BS. That's what it sounds like. Is it active? Oh yeah, active. And China's calling him out. Listen to this. So this is coming from Beijing. It says, China on Thursday said that there are no discussions with the U.S. on tariffs, despite indications coming from the White House this week, and there would be some easing in the tension. So whatever White House says, they're saying that we're not talking to them. Another quote here. At the present, there are absolutely no negotiations on the economy and trade between China and the U.S. That's coming from the Commerce over in China. He added that all sayings regarding progress on bilateral talks should be dismissed. And they also say if the U.S. really wants to resolve the problem, it should cancel all unilateral measures on China. It is very different than what you're hearing from the U.S. Let's listen to more what the U.S. is saying.
Trump's tariffs are working and dozens of countries are running to the White House to negotiate, or we're running there. But where do we stand with China? Are we any closer to a deal with China?
How soon do you want to bring the tariffs on Chinese goods?
Well, that depends on them. If we don't have a deal with a company or a country, we're going to set the tariff. We just set the tariff. It's something that we think that will happen, I'd say, over the next couple of weeks. Wouldn't you say? I think so. Over the next 2-3 weeks.
It's just like they're just making it up as they go along. And another way to think about this is kind of like, imagine you're in third grade and you tell all your friends that, oh, there's that pretty girl that really, really likes me. And we've been going steady for, 3 months or whatever. And we play together at recess. And then when it comes to lunchtime and that person doesn't even know your name, you have to explain it to all your friends why the pretty girl in class doesn't even know who you are. That's kind of what's going on with the Trump and China thing. They're like pretend everyone that they're making progress, et cetera. But how long can the charade go on when literally China says we're not talking to them? Well, it turns out, you guys, if you feel like all this stuff is craziness, you're not alone. Polling data just came out on Trump. This is coming from Fox News, and the numbers are bad. Take a look at this.
If you look at our new Fox News poll at 100 days job approval compared to other presidents, there you see the president at 44%, and you see his first term at 45% at this mark, the 100-day mark.
So the numbers are bad. Comparing to recent presidents right after 100 days, Trump, term number 2, is at 44% approval, which is still too high. I mean, who's still thinking this guy's doing a good job? In comparison, Biden was at 54 at this time. Trump in his first time around was at 45. So again, this is like the lowest that Trump's ever been, at 44. Obama was at 62, and then Bush was at 63. So you're looking at pretty bad numbers for Trump. What else does Fox News have to say about this? Let's have a watch.
We have other new polls that are revealing some concerns about the economy. Let's talk about that, the politics and these polls. Fox News chief political analyst Britt Hume joins me. Britt, you've looked at these. What strikes you?
Well, a couple of things. There's a list of issues that we asked people what they felt about, and the president is underwater in all but one, and that one is the border, where he's.
According this is Fox News, that the president is underwater in every category except the border. So that's why, for them, that's the issue they're going to keep running with. But the way that they do it and the way that they ignore the Supreme Court is pretty ridiculous. And look at the actual communication from the White House today. This is actual official communication from the White House. You can't make this stuff up. It's a cartoon depicting deportation. And if you showed this to me, I would be thinking this is some sort of joke on Saturday Night Live, right? That's what you would think. No, this is actually coming from the White House. It says here, not hard to follow, cross illegally, join a gang, get deported, end of story. And I think this is supposed to be portraying Garcia, right? The person that is in El Salvador, the person that the Supreme Court told them to bring back. It was like a 9-0. You got to facilitate bringing them back. If you look at that first drawing, it's kind of bizarre because Trump always brags about building the wall, etc. But it shows him going over a barbed wire fence at the border, like a really short fence, or not even a fence, but just barbed wire. Then I guess you join MS-13, get a bunch of tattoos, then you get arrested by ICE, and then you go to El Salvador. Now, this is still being litigated, I guess the best way to describe it. I haven't seen anything definitive, whether or not he's in MS-13 or has done anything to warrant them deporting him, because remember, the judge put him in protective status. That's a long ongoing issue, and regardless of what happens to this, everyone deserves the right to a due process, right? Present your evidence, etc. But this is how the White House is handling stuff: is just tweet out stupid cartoons, and it's just ridiculous. But this is what we have to deal with on a daily. This is again another official White House communication. It looks just like a Saturday Night Live kind of joke, but it's not. This is real White House communication. I know you're probably sitting at home like, what the heck is this nonsense? Or if you're in another country, not in USA, and you're just like, do Americans, follow this guy? I mean, how is his poll numbers even at 44% at this point is beyond me, but it is what it is. So this is Trump. President Trump loves the American flag emoji, heart emoji, and it has a picture of Trump hugging the flag. I mean, it's crazy. Then now he's saluting the flag. Then I guess he's using his credit card or whatever to Donald J. Trump to pay for the flag. And now we got 2 flags on the White House lawn. and this is probably AI generated, because the drawing on the bottom, it's supposed to be 2 flags on either side of the lawn, I think is what they're doing, but it doesn't really look right. But what do you expect from them? On top of that, this is actually Trump bragging about the flag. Let's watch this.
We're putting up a beautiful, almost 100-foot tall American flag on this side and another one on the other side, 2 flags, top of the line. And they've needed flagpoles for 200 years. It was something I've often said, they don't have a flagpole per se. So we're putting one right where you saw us, and we're putting another one.
So here's a dude that promises, he's going to bring egg prices down, right? They're obsessed with eggs. And they say, oh, yeah, we're actively talking to China. China calls them out on the BS. And then I guess, is we're putting up more American flags. That's what we're doing. This is Hassett. He came out and is trying to defend Trump. Have a listen to what they're saying.
Director, Kevin, how close are we to even starting to talk to China again? I noticed the president's tone has been much more positive the last 48 hours.
Right. Well, the president will announce when talks happen, if they happen. But it's clear that the president and our team are open to talks. The Chinese have signaled that they're open to talks. In addition, the president has mentioned that American government officials and Chinese government officials are talking every day about many things, and often current events come up. And so I think that, exactly
so that's what a
happens
BS answer sounds like, right? So there's like, oh, if we have talks, we'll let you know. I mean, they got nothing, and that's why Beijing had to put out those statements of like, we're not talking to them. So anything that they say about this is, dismiss it, basically. What they did say, which is kind of interesting, they also talk about something else. Watch this.
India's right near the top of the list. And the fact that we've got a sketch of a fantastic deal already in place with India.
That's their new language now, guys. With India, we have a sketch of a fantastic deal. I mean, I guess a sketch is better than concepts of a plan. We have a sketch of a plan. Is that or a sketch of a fantastic deal is their language? Like who writes this stuff that they it's like every day when we go through this stuff, I you know, my goal is just to talk to you like human beings. You know, I'm not going to try to BS you and stuff. I just tell you what's going on. Like, are you talking to them or not? It's like it should be simple yes or no answers. And people who give you these kind of nonsense stuff, like, how do you take this stuff seriously? That's why their polling numbers are you know, absolutely in the toilet. On top of that, this is actually also breaking news today. 12 states are suing Trump over the tariffs. So basically, Trump's declaring this whole thing a national emergency. Therefore, I can do tariff here, tariff there, etc. Go around Congress. States are suing, 12 of them. I can actually tell you a little bit about this. It says here, these edicts reflect a national trade policy that now hinges on the president's whims rather than sound exercise of his lawful authority. That's what the lawsuit says. The 12 states, actually, we have a list of it here. It's Oregon, Arizona, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Illinois, Maine, Minnesota, Nevada, New Mexico, New York, and Vermont. And then I believe California is suing separately. So 13 so far are suing. Some of the quotes here from Arizona, they're saying Trump's tariff scheme is insane. It's reckless. It is illegal. Connecticut saying Trump's lawless and chaotic tariffs are a massive tax on Connecticut families and a disaster for Connecticut business and jobs. White House hit back. This is what they say. They say the Trump administration remains committed to using its full legal authority to confront the distinct national emergencies our country is currently facing, both scourge of illegal migration and fentanyl. So that's the argument they're going to make. And then I guess trade deficit, whether or not that is a national emergency. So that's sort of the dispute. And this is going to probably go to the Supreme Court if I had to bet. But it's always good to hear what, you know, various states have to say. Now, again, 13 states are suing. We'll see if more join. This comes from Oregon, my home state. When a president pushes an unlawful policy that drives up prices at the grocery store and spikes utility bills, we don't have the luxury of standing by. These tariffs hit every corner of our lives, from the checkout to the doctor's office, and we have the responsibility to push back. So, hey, Oregon's right there. That's good. And there's California. They say here no other state will be more impacted. So we'll see what happens with that. And you also have this, and I like to talk about internationally a perspective on this stuff. They're shutting down factories in China. Why? Because essentially these tariffs are just, you know, closing trade between U.S. and China. It's just the taxes are too high. And so many factories are putting workers like on a week-long furlough, et cetera. And, you know, it's not just American, you know, just regular people's lives are up in the air because of Trump. It's also many Chinese are up in the air because of Trump. And it's a lot of people involved with this stuff. Regarding what Trump and them always say about, you know, all these countries are coming to us, et cetera. It's not like you can do these, you know, in a couple of days. It's kind of ridiculous. It'll take months, maybe years. In the situation of Korea, where I'm at, they're having a presidential election because we just impeached President Yoon, and now we're going to do a new election. And so, like, no one here is even in a position to do any sort of fast deal or anything like that. It's just not going to happen. In a place like Japan, a country like Japan, they might not have the money to invest because, like, remember, Trump's like, oh yeah, all these countries are going to come and give us a bunch of money and build factories, and we're all going to, you know, have jobs, you know, building widgets, whatever. But it's not going to happen. And this is sort of what we're watching is how long can they keep this charade going, right? And that's why I said that today, basically China's like calling them out as being liars, saying we're not even talking to them, so just don't even believe anything that they say. This is also an interesting one. It says Donald Trump to exempt car makers from some U.S. tariffs. So I think what the Trump people are looking is to try to get, you know, bribes or kickbacks from various companies or industries, and just use this as a way to fill their pocketbooks. The Trump people are not really interested in making good policy for the country or, you know, good relationships with the world. They're just looking at how can we profit for themselves, right? How can we profit for you know, their billionaire buddies? And I think that's wrong, to be perfectly frank. I just want to give you guys an update of what's going on. And, you know, when you see it all together, and I just let them speak for themselves, and you can see, like, again, it's just like that Han Solo scene in Star Wars where he's, you know, trying to fool the stormtroopers that he's a stormtrooper also, but it's obvious when someone's BSing you. So learn to pick up this stuff, and love to hear your thoughts on this, and I'll catch you on the next video.